Hello, hello, everybody. Good to see you. Whether you're jumping on live, watching the replay, awesome to have you on. Happy Wednesday to you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I pray and trust it is glorious. I wanted to share a little bit today on the topic of prophetic pursuit, pursuing the prophetic. How many of you, I'd love to hear this in the comments. How many of you ever received a prophetic word and it took quite a while for that word to come to fruition? However big the scale of that word was or how deep it was, it's just like, man, there was a season where you had to pursue, you had to stand on that promise. And there seemed to be contradictions all around you, tension all around you that seemed to be the opposite to that which had been spoken. So throw that in the comment. Yes, I've been there or I am there. And that's probably where everybody is, right? We're either in that mix or we're coming out of that mix. And so I wanted to share a personal process in that whole dynamic, in that whole arena. So 2007, I had a dream. And in this dream, there was this guy. He had a specific name, and it was the spelling of that name was different than what I would normally have seen. And so in the dream, I remember thinking to myself, that's an interesting way to spell that name. So I Google the guy. He's a real guy. The next morning, I reach out to him, said, hey, man, I had this dream, and I feel like we're supposed to connect. And so I didn't hear anything for 4 weeks. So I thought this guy's blowing me off, like, whatever. I'm okay, whatever. He had been in rural China with no internet access, so he didn't see my email for 4 weeks. And I said, hey, I'm so sorry, got your email. And at the time, my wife and I were living in Sacramento. And he says, I'm going to be up in Sacramento. He was in LA at the time. I'm going to be up in Sacramento to visit my aunt. And his aunt lived 1.5 blocks from where we lived. I mean, Sacramento's not a small area, so I thought that was pretty crazy. So we ended up connecting in 2008. And then that evolved into a conference in 2009 in Las Vegas. We're kind of doing this joint thing. And end of this conference, he prophesies over me, pulls me up, says, you're going to produce a movie, and it's going to be a blockbuster. I said, okay. So you ever receive one of those words, you're just like, I don't even know what to do with this word. It was one of those. I said, okay. So I put it on a shelf. Honestly, I didn't think much about it because it just seemed so outside the space in which I was functioning in at the moment. But I was like, well, I'll put it on a shelf. If there's another word that confirms this, then I'll pay attention more closely. And so what's interesting is the guy that prophesied that is now really involved in the movie industry. Wasn't at the time. And so then a year later, I'm with some new friends. My wife and I are hanging out. We're having dinner. And this guy looks at me and says, I just keep seeing a movie. I see you producing a movie. And it will be a blockbuster. So I said, okay, I'm paying attention now. So what did I start doing? How did I partner with the prophetic? Well, I started to think, well, what would I do? What would the movie be? If I did a movie, what would it do? What would it look like? And I was like, I would do anime. Anime is such a powerful Japanese animation, such a powerful medium of communication, especially communicating supernatural things. And it's a huge user base in anime. Tons of people watch anime. Tons of people read manga novels, which are light novels that usually are built into stories on the screen. And so I started thinking about what would the characters be? What would the story be? I started dreaming about this. So keep in mind, this is 2010. 10 years later, I'm at a conference in Texas. This lady comes up. Her name's Ruth, Filipino. Tell me about your story. So I started telling her about my story of my life, some things, and there's some craziness to my story. And she says, we're going to make a movie about your life. Feel the presence of God. And I said, well, I know what it is. I already know what it is. I already have the story. Got the characters. So we sat down. I sat down with a good friend who's a fantasy writer. And I said, hey, what if we do a kingdom manga novel? House of Many Waters. Yes, indeed. And we said, yeah, let's do it. And so we have put together a manga novel called House of Many Waters. It's super cool. The plan is at least 4 novels. This is the first one. And the ultimate hope and goal is that it will be built into a televised series and or a movie on the screen. And so some of the big themes in this storyline are, being bullied, learning disabilities, and walking through that, death of a father. And so there's a lot of situations that I think a lot of people will relate to. And it's a really cool story. And so this first novel, House of Many Waters, is just the beginning. It's a taster of the story of the world. And the world is really built around this idea of there being what's called pneumospheres, Nooma, based on the Greek word pneuma, spirit. There's these pneumospheres that lumens. Lumens are different people that keep these spheres open so that light comes into creation. And so there's an enemy that's trying to kill off all of the lumens. My father was a lumen. He was killed in this first novel. And I go on this pursuit in this novel to figure out finding a person and finding a place. And that place is the House of Many Waters. And so it's my journey of discovering who am I and where is this house, and working through learning disabilities and being bullied and all of these things. And so I think it'll be an awesome story for kids, for adults, everything and everyone in between. It's going to be really cool. I want to share this with you. So the artwork is crazy, right? So we found a professional anime artist, not cheap, but the artwork is incredible. And so some of you helped us in getting the cover art done, which is awesome. We now are going to be doing a Kickstarter campaign starting next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. It's going to be awesome. This is going to help us finish the artwork on the inside. So manga novels have a lot of artwork. And so it's a graphic novel. And so the artwork will be finished on the inside. We'll get distribution from a publisher called Yorkshire Publisher that we're partnering with. So it's going to help us get the artwork, the printing, the printing is going to be awesome. It's not going to be on-demand printing, which is way cheaper. It's offset printing, which is more expensive, but it'll feel really good in your hands. It'll look awesome. So the printing costs, the distribution costs, and there's going to be awesome reward tiers in Kickstarter. So if you haven't used Kickstarter, just set up an account. It's free. I'll put the link in here as well when I get off about how you can be a part of the pre-launch page on there as well. Actually, why don't I just throw it in here while we're chatting? This is the link where you can go to on Kickstarter. It's in the pre-launch phase. It will not go live until Tuesday, July 25th. And there's a lot of different tiers. Some really cool things you can get: signed paperbacks. There is even Spend a Day with Brian in San Diego. We will tour San Diego together. That's one of the reward tiers. Come on. You'll even be able to get a character in the next novels. You can have your own character designed and created. That's something you want to do. And so lots of different things in between. And so make sure to check that out. help me spread the word more than anything. Maybe you're not yourself into manga novels or into anime, but I can guarantee you someone in your world is. And so if you can help me spread the word, that would be incredible. Friends, family, children, grandchildren, it would be super cool. And once that Kickstarter is funded, which I'm believing it will be, the plan is this will be out late October, early November. It'll be in your hands, available. And so it's going to be awesome. You can also check out houseofmanywaters.com. Go to houseofmanywaters.com. You can check out more about the story, more about some of the characters. There's a video on there with the co-author David and Ruth, the lady I mentioned, the Filipino. And so we talk about the big picture of this story, that it's not just about a novel, multiple novels, and really building a world and moving this towards something televised and or in the theaters. And so this is not a Christian project. It is kingdom, but it is not Christian in the sense of Christianese. I really wanted to build this to connect with people in a space that largely there's very little to no kingdom in the anime space. And so we want to bring some kingdom to that space, really about hope and restoration and reconciliation and breakthrough and healing and wholeness, all these awesome things. And so I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're looking forward to it. Check out houseofmanywaters.com. Go to our pre-launch Kickstarter page. Be a follower so you'll be the first to be notified when it goes live. Set up a Kickstarter account for free so you can be ready to participate, which will be awesome. And this will be your fastest way to get the book in your hands, is participating in the Kickstarter campaign. And so we have a good chunk to raise so we can get the awesome artwork finished on the inside, distribution, printing, and more. So thanks so much. I hope to see you participating in Kickstarter. Help us spread the word, and let's get House of Many Waters in the hands of many, many people. Peace, guys. Thanks for tuning in live. If you're catching the replay, thanks for checking it out. Peace.